Hello and welcome to Off the Court.
We're here at the Copper Box after, I'm going to say it, probably the game of the season so far, round 3 in the Netball Super League. The host London Pools have just beaten Loughborough Lightning in a 1-goal thriller, 53-52. Yeah, you remember that, Olivia, yeah. I'm joined here with Eboni Brown and player of the match, Tchine. And Liv, I'm going to come to you first. Just how exciting was that match for you guys?
It was so exciting. We were actually all a bit nervous at first, only because we didn't have a great side against Thunder, and then we played against Storm, and it's our first home game. But I mean, we actually enjoyed it so much, and yeah, again, what a better performance. So yeah.
Well, I think Eboni and I will probably get some stick through commentary, as we usually do, but we were raving about you guys all the way through the game, just in terms of the flair, the openness, and the fearlessness. How impressive was it for you, Eboni?
I just thought the bravery. I think I was really critical about you guys, especially in the opening season round. I just thought there was a lack of confidence, a lack of trust, but today you guys came out with intention, and you could tell from the really first whistle in terms of the structures were set, and in terms of the knocks that you were getting, the strength that you showed on the post. I've been calling for, and I thought you were absolutely superb, the whole team.
Well, we talk about that opening round. Is it too soon to talk about the 16 unforced errors in that first game against Manchester Thunder? I only bring that up because I actually said Pools would be the most impressive heading into round 2, and they haven't disappointed so far. When a team of that quality make the silly errors, the unforced stuff, the footworks are just throwing away, it's quite easy to fix, right?
It is easy, and at first, to be fair, at this level, should it be happening anyways, especially footwork? But yeah, stuff happens, and yeah, we've just been to training, and we've been just smashing it at training, because we know now that we're all on the same page. We have this aim, and we're actually going for it this year. But yeah.
You could certainly see that tight-knit unit, and what I loved is that bouncing around at the end, all coming through into huddle, led by you pretty much, dancing around in the middle, getting pushed out of the way. Was that in celebration of your player of the match?
I think it was more of a celebration of the whole team. I think we just, as I said, we just knew we really needed to not only challenge Lightning, but actually try and come and get a win at our home game. And I think it was just so important to stay connected, and I was just so proud of the fact that we had one starting 7 and we stuck with that starting 7 out the whole court. And Sam did say we will only make changes if needed, but she just wants to reward the players. And I think every player came out from the first whistle, they did what they needed to do, and yeah, I mean the results show. So yeah.
Well, you saw the consistency from both sides. It was pretty much level pegging throughout the whole game. Loughborough Lightning only making that one change as well, with Annabelle Roddy entering into the game. Ebs, we said it's a shooting special this week with Off the Court, and we are going to get to some of your questions you have sent in, so thank you for that. But you had 2 massive powerhouses down at either end. Mary Cholhok, Ugandan international for Loughborough Lightning, and of course Liv down the other end. Talk to me about that variety.
I think it's 2 very different shooting styles. As you say, 2 powerhouses. It's great to see Tchine in particular can be a holding shooter, but her movement has improved season to season. We saw you out the circle, rolling the front, utilising the backspace. And as a defender, I remember it makes it so difficult to mark. But that variety in the circle is really what makes you a standout shooter in the Super League. On contrast, we'll talk to Mary Cholhok, who's much more of a posting holding shooter, and she found it difficult today against the likes of Fumi Fedosian and Adio because of their hops. But again, you can't take away in terms of her height and her ability to move around the circle and change her angles to allow the likes of Joseph and Panagari to feed her. So 2 different styles, 2 very effective styles, just depends in terms of the opposition who you come up against.
Well, I mean, could I be any shorter at this moment in time? I think I might just leave now and exit. Look, welcome, Mary. Didn't quite get over the line today, but still an impressive performance by your side. I mean, you kept giving it to them. That 4th quarter, you had them on the run.
Yeah, it's really this is the challenge we need. We knew Pulse is going to give it to the top 4 teams. We expected that kind of intensity, but the performance, we learned from it, and it's just the season is still early on, so we learn from these kind of experiences. And this is what the league is about, that's competitiveness, to keep grinding and pushing every day. It's not going to come easy, really.
Okay, well, look, we're going to get straight into the questions. So we have a lot of questions from the viewers, and I think it's really important. We talk about a shooting special, and why not speak to the experts? I mean, me and Ebs reckon we could do it, probably beat you in killer, but that's about it. I'm going to start with you, Mary, because one of the questions we've had is, and this is probably relevant from today, what is the best way to find space if your defender is really tight on the body? And I mean, Halima Adio was close today.
That's a very tough question. So you gotta find the body, for the tall shooters, all can resonate with it. You gotta kinda try to get your feet around. I know how to demonstrate. I don't know how to.
You can demo on me.
So,
great, yeah.
if I'm holding the backspace, for example, you gotta put your foot around it so that the defender doesn't come around. But you gotta move your feet. You're not gonna be stationary at the back. Otherwise, just keep rounding. So you gotta walk your feet around. Yeah, it's just a juggle. It's a gamble sometimes, but you gotta find a way out to just defeat the defender.
Those angles are so important. We talk about getting that foot around and finding that backspace. How important then is the feed, Liv? Because, I think Eboni spoke to you in Player of the Match interview about the relationship with Liz Scholl. She was on 30 feeds today. And what I loved about Liz is she just turned and looked into you. That trust is building across the season. But you've got to have someone who lets the ball go, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think depending on the shooter, some shooters like when the ball drops to them, some shooters like to move onto the ball. And I think, again, it's just the feeders getting to know the shooter and what they like. If Barry's holding, for example, I know Liz will feed the ball differently compared to me. I like to move onto the ball, hold and then move. But yeah, Liz has just been smashing it. But the feed is so important. It's got to be right. But according to the shooters.
Well, listen, I'm intrigued, Mary, because it's not often we see you not hit 40 goals in a game. How much information are you giving back to your feeders? Because there was holds on tonight, and it did look edgy from outside the circle. You didn't perhaps have the same connection with Hannah that you usually do?
Yeah, it's just challenging because the pulse defense are kind of drop on early, so it's hard to give that ball long. But again, this is where we learn.
Did you want it though?
I wanted it. Fine. Give it. But if it's not, you gotta be patient with it, work it through. If the attack doesn't like it, you're not gonna force it in. So that's the patience we want to go with. How do we work our way in without forcing the ball in? Ella was smashing it. Our goals were on. If we're using our goal attack, I have no problem. But if they can come in nice and early, Holly was smashing me in the middle like a sandwich. That's what I'm used to. But if not, I'm happy for the change.
Well, Ebs, I'll come to you then. So in the Super League, we have so many different styles of defensive units, and Pools today were really effective in their box. We saw Loughborough Lightning go to a more one-on-one style, especially in that second half. So what is the most effective style of shooting in this league? Do you need the variety? Because when you are shut down, it can't always fall on the goal attack.
I think you definitely need the variety, and I think it was key today. I think Liv Tchine in particular, the fact that she was holding, then she was going to the backspace. We saw her exiting out the circle. And I talked about on commentary that you need to keep the defenders guessing in terms of what they're going to do. Do I need to be in front? Do I need to be behind? Do I need to be calling back my goal defence? Do I need to be going out myself and going on flies? And by having that variety, you keep them on the top, you keep them guessing. And it's a psychological part of the game that also has a big impact. And I thought Liv did it really well today. And I think I've seen Mary also do it really well in terms of holding and that variety, which makes them two of the hardest shooters to mark in this league. So the more that can be introduced and successfully executed in that unit, the more the better for the team and the goals.
Well, you mentioned the psychology, and we talked about the physicality, and I know everyone always goes, oh, it's part of the game, but you two did take some hits this evening. You love it. But there is that part, right? As a young shooter, both of you playing internationally as well, it's kind of part of the game. You have to almost enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. I always say to myself, defenders have to do what they've got to do in order to get the ball, whether I like it or not. But then again, it's about staying mentally strong, not only physically, and just doing what you got to do. But yeah, I guess we like having goalkeepers on our back. There's nothing wrong with a goalkeeper being on our back. So yeah.
I'm not sure you look that happy when you hit the deck for the third time.
I was just thinking, guys, I'm so young.
The face expression is saying, get off me, but at actual sense, I'm taking it out. All right, keep bringing it on. But we love the spiciness. The game is physical and it's not going to get easy, so you got to take the hits and compose yourself after the hit.
Well, I want to talk about the super shot because it's always the most contentious question whenever we do anything about a shooting special. So we've got a question here from Jodie Flower. Do you think holding shooters become irrelevant if we change the game to a shooter shot? Super shot, go.
No. No.
What do you reckon?
No.
Well, I think certainly with the partnerships we saw tonight, Barry Neal and, of course, Ella Clark, they were lethal under the post. So there's still a role to play in that, don't you think, Abs?
I think there definitely is a role. I experienced it in SSN and I actually really liked it. I know I'm not a big fan with everybody, but in terms of, it's still a holding shooter role for the first 10 minutes. Super shot for the last 5. I like it.
Well, look, Mary, this is my question for you, because we saw the movement again for Uganda in the Nations Cup and how much you're allowed out. And I did joke with Vicky Burgess at the start of the season whether we'd see that. I think tonight that perhaps could have been an opportunity for you to come out a little bit more, especially when you're under that kind of physical pressure. Is that something you think will keep evolving in the Super League?
I think so. It's just like me being used like as a tall shooter. I know my strength under the post there. I know I can take the ball if it comes from everywhere. But if I'm needed, I need to kind of exit. I need to add that into the bracket. So there's a lot of pressure, the ball being brought back to the back line, and sometimes the ball gets taken. So that's something we need to work on as a team, and I myself need to remind myself, if I need to go, just get running, Mary. Exit, come back. So yeah, we keep growing every day. We just analyze what we need to do better, but again, no pressure. Our strengths are our strengths at the end of the day, but we'll come back to those. If we need to add in new stuff, we can do that.
And Liv, we get loads of questions from the younger audience as well about how they improve, how they get better. And I know the simple thing is just practice, but just give us a little insight of how much work you have to do, not only under the post, but also on your movement and your offloads, because it's not okay now just to be a target shooter, right? You both have to offload, you both have to move. So what is the kind of work and training you do around that?
So we've got, okay, first in English. We've been trying to practice different setups. So, for example, a peel and a goal shoot coming up top. But as she said, like, yeah, being a holding shooter now is just not, I mean, it does work, but then again, it's like you got to offer more. And I think that's one thing is just really exciting about our league. Like we have, for example, me and Mary, where we are both able to hold, but then both able to come out. And then, as Ebony said, it gets the goalkeepers guessing. But yeah, you just got to switch it up sometimes. Just keep the game exciting.
Okay. Well, listen, we certainly enjoyed that game tonight. I know Liv might be slightly happier, Mary, but we know it's not the end for Loughborough at all. It's only round 3 and there's still so much to come from your team.
For sure. Yeah, it's just round 3 and we're going to keep grinding every day. We learn from these early mistakes and then keep building on and building on. We meet again.
They will certainly meet again. Well, listen, I'm going to let you two go and get an ice bath. All Liv said is she wanted to shower and to sort her face out. I said, that looks like the face of a winner. Go find your medal, go and have a boogie, have a safe trip back to the Midlands, and thank you, ladies. We'll see you soon. You can head off. Go, go, go. So, Ebony, we've heard from 2 quality shooters in there, and we've seen an absolutely cracking game, both so dominant in their positions. One final question we had, our favourite goal attack at the moment, that's from Scarlet Gardens. Who's your favourite goal attack?
Dare I say it? Berry Neal. I thought she had a masterclass today. I think in terms of, I've been critical of her in the past in terms of going missing during the games, but the game smarts today, her ability to clear space and allow Scholes and Tchine to build that connection, I thought was really exciting, and it'd be interesting to see how she continues to build over this 2024 season.
Well, yeah, look, personally for me, I love a playmaker goal attack. I think we went through a massive era of sort of getting just goal attacks to enter the circle and not do that work rate out the front. I think Berry Neal is really growing into that role now, isn't she, how she distributes the ball. Another one on the list for me is Sophie Drakeford-Lewis at Team Bath. They got the win over Saracens Mavericks earlier, so I'll be checking back on that game. But again, her cuts and drives in and out of the circle and how dominant she goes to the post. You can't just be a one-trick pony these days, can you, Ebs?
You can't at all. Got to keep those defenders guessing.
Earlier, we caught up with England Roses goal shooter Elle Cardwell, who's currently out in Australia playing for her new team, the Melbourne Mavericks. She gave us loads of insight into that shooting circle. Hi, welcome. So this week we are joined by England Roses goal shooter Elle Cardwell, and you might notice that I'm sitting here slightly in the dark and she's sitting there in the sunshine. The other side of the world in Australia, new year, new team. I mean, you can't miss it. Great name, just wrong country, Melbourne Mavericks. Thanks for joining us, Elle. How is it out in Melbourne?
No worries. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Like, jumped straight in with the training with all the girls, and obviously met them, the majority of them, for the first time. But yeah, absolutely loving Melbourne. We've got our own little bubble going already, building the culture, building how we're going to play as a team, and yeah, it's just so exciting just to be a part of like a brand new franchise. Like, yeah, it's super exciting.
Well, look, we'll get onto that in a moment. But we just wanted to have a little word on Sasha Glasgow. Obviously, we were the other side of the world when the news broke. She broke a leg in that pre-season match. Absolutely gutted here as England fans. Just wanted to sort of touch base. It's really sad news for her. How's she doing and how are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty traumatic for everyone, especially Sasha. She's doing great. She's living with me at the minute. She's actually just gone past on her crutches. Yeah, she's doing really well. I'm actually really proud of how she's doing at the minute. Her leg looks so much better in 1 week. Like, it's actually crazy how well it's doing. Like, last night she put some weight down on it for the first time, which is a huge milestone, and that's only a week. So it's incredible what she's doing. She's been a super trooper, a big fighter. I know obviously this is really hard for her, but yeah, and all the girls have come together really well. Like, especially for a new team, it was incredible to see the reaction from everyone, how much love she had from everyone, and just the response. Like, the club got her family and her partner over instantly, and that was awesome. Like, seeing the medical staff kick into gear, it just gave you a true bit of confidence that everyone's here for a reason, and everyone's really good at the job. So yeah.
That helps. Can I just check, she's supposed to put in weight down on her foot, or is this one of these things where she's like, I'm just testing it, I'll be back next week? Is that
No, she's laughing in the background. She's definitely going to be putting weight down on it. She saw her surgeon yesterday, so yeah.
Okay, mega. Well, we wish you all the best, Sash, if you're listening in the background. We might get you in and hobble over in a minute. Look, I want to talk about that Melbourne Mavericks move then, because look, you left Manchester Thunder off the back of winning the league in 2022. You then joined Adelaide Thunderbirds, went on and won SSN in your first year, as you do, and then this new team gets announced. Your assistant coach from Thunderbirds goes on to coach them, and suddenly you're in the colours. How big a call was that with Tracy to start off with, and what were you first on a list? Did you want to know more about it, or was it just like, where you're going, I'm going?
To be honest with you, like, at the end of the season, I just did not think I was going to move. I loved Adelaide, I loved everything about it, and I said that to all the girls. Like, I didn't think I was going to move. I told the club I didn't think I was going to move. They had an incredible environment, and obviously winning was even better. And then obviously heard the news about Tracy, which was incredible. And then obviously, like, had a phone call with her, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she'll want me in her team. Like, I was like, I've been with her for like 12 years. I wonder if she's got me in her brain. But then, yeah, obviously then she got a phone call, and she's like, Elle, like, obviously I want you in my team. Like, yeah. So it gave me something to think about, and like, obviously last time she followed me to Adelaide, but this time I love learning. Learning is like, if I'm not learning, I don't want to be playing netball. I don't want to be doing anything where I'm not learning. So I know that every single year I've been with Tracy, I've learned something new, and even though I've had her for so many years, like, I'm just constantly learning. Like, it's actually crazy how much you can learn from her. So that was a key thing for me, that I want to continue that development. I want to continue my development in goal attack, goal shooter, and how exciting it was to create a whole new club and then develop a different style of netball. However we want to do it, we can do it. So that was the main thing that attracted me to Mavericks, and like the ethos that Tracy's trying to create, and the environment that she's trying to create is just my cup of tea. So yeah, just I was dying to get in there.
Well, I want to pick up on that learning then, because I remember you coming on the court. It wasn't a good memory for me, by the way. You Northern girls have that effect on me. But 2012 grand final, I think it was Kerry Ullman that goes down injured, and it was pretty much goal for goal at that time. I'm in my first year of player coaching. You come on as a kid at goalkeeper. And I'm not even going to lie, I'm like, it's fine, we're going to get this. And you absolutely owned us that day in attack, you in our attack end. And you went out and won the game. Thunder got the title that year. And I was like, wow, this kid's good. This kid's good. And then 2 years later, you're in the shooting end. And I did that thing again, like, what? She's a goalkeeper, and suddenly she's playing goal shooter, goal attack. So clearly you must have been playing both positions. But was Tracy have a huge impact on that shift into that shooting position?
Yeah, I mean, I was only ever defender. I played goalkeeper, goal defence, wing defence, only ever a defender. And I was always like the player who everyone wanted me in the team for the warm-up game because I could defend, but I could also shoot. Like I had a post from when I was a kid. Like my sister's a keeper as well. So I'd always do the shooting practice while she practiced doing the lean and practicing getting around me and stuff, and vice versa. So I remember we had an import over a goal attack from Australia, and she had to go home early from training. And I was really filling in 2014. Like I was filling in at centre at training. I wasn't getting any court time. I was like, Tracy's shouting at me for not being able to deliver first phase. And I was like, this is not my style, like being really hesitant on the ball. But then, yeah, I popped in a goal attack in that training session. And then the next morning, well, once it happened, everyone was like, Elle, why are you not this position? Like, this is your calling. I was like, guys, I'm a defender through and through. Like, I am never, ever becoming a shooter. Don't make me laugh. But then the next morning, Tracy's like, Elle, I've been up all night. I think this is what we need to do. Like, if you want to become a netballer and if you want to play for England, you need to become a shooter. And I think you can really do it with a lot of training. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. But you've got to make the decision right now if you want to do it. And yeah, so then I was like, right, okay, let's throw myself in. And she's like, no longer allowed to ever play goalkeeper, goal defence ever again. And yeah, I remember going to like an under 16, 17 camp, England camp, and George Fisher was there, like the big shooter star. Like she was really, really young. And I was there like a lot older than her, like 19. And I came in.
So old.
I was like, yeah, I was so old at that time. And I was like, couldn't do a split landed. It was really embarrassing. Like George was trying to show me what to do. She did doing all the examples, and I was falling over all over the place. It was embarrassing. But yeah, Tracy was a huge rock around that time. Really stripped me back and taught me the ropes, and Karen as well. Karen did an amazing job, and yeah, it's all thanks to them too. I literally wouldn't be sat here today without both of them. So yeah, it's crazy.
You've just opened a huge can of worms here for every goal defence that's just won a game of killer. It's like I told you I could be goal attack. That is such a mad story. So I want to explore that a bit then, because in a world of Cholhoks and Weckys, the 6'5" plus your Fowlers, you're kind of our girl next door, right? And I know you're 6'1". I need to check this. Are you like 6'1", like I'm 5'10", or are you actually 6'1"?
I'm actually a bit over 6'1". I'm like 6'1.5".
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm 5'9.5", around up. But I want to talk about that because in that kind of world where target shooters became a thing, England probably haven't had that for a good number of years. We've had sort of smaller shooters, but you've absolutely owned it, and I want to, I guess, talk about what have been the big work-ons for you. So you've talked about some of that technical stuff, but how have you made that position yours? Where basically international teams and big club teams are always looking for a target.
I think it's having variation in my game, so not just having one solid thing, like not just being a holder. First of all, that kind of game bores me. Like I need to feel excited, and as I said, I need to be learning. So if I can create something new, then I'll be more than happy to try anything at all. So I think at the start it was me learning how to hold and learning my angles, and I think I found that easier than I thought it would, because like I was thinking as a goalkeeper, like where they would want the ball, where they're trying to like move around the body, and they're obviously trying to get us away from post. So like as now a shooter, I was thinking, right, I just need to do the opposite of what they want me to do. So that comes pretty easy in my head of where I can manipulate them and where I want to put them. And then it was adding the movement, which was a little bit harder. Definitely harder, and trying to work with another shooter. And then trying to get the balance of the two. I'm still working on that, to be fair. Trying to get the balance of, sometimes I really get stuck in my head, okay, I need to hold against this keeper, and then I move too much, and I just need to cross the two and get the two, like, yeah, I need to get a really good balance. But Tracy's trying to help me with that, so.
It looks pretty good to us, Elle. It's not bad. I wanna. We've talked about sort of the coaching partnership, and I know how important that is. I want to talk to you briefly about your sort of wing attack partnerships as well, because the year you won with Manchester Thunder in 2022, you guys schooled everyone down the attack end, playing with Nat Metcalf. I think you scored over 160 goals more than anybody else. And then, of course, Thunderbirds last year, you were playing goal shooter and goal attack. But Georgie Horges was in the top 4 of goal assists. And, you know, when you're putting people like, it was like Liz Watson above her and Alice Teague-Neal, who was feeding, you know, Janelle Fowler, that's pretty impressive. How much of those key sort of feeding players helped your game?
Oh, massively. I feel like a good relationship with them is so key. Like having the communication, having the variety of centre passes so they can keep changing it up and keep trying to deliver that ball. It's so important. Especially when you goal attack, like you need to keep a variety on the line and being able to, I mean, say like last year, Georgia Horges was so stable with the ball in her hand that you wanted to get her to circle edge and her to feed. So if we could do that anyway, then yeah, we would try and do that. And obviously when you're at shooter, having that wing attack is so vital. Like you set up on the centre pass as a goal shooter, and you're trying to protect them and trying to make sure that they get the ball and they can deliver it. So it is really important. Like they do all the work right there, the majority of the brains in attack. So yeah, you're just trying to make them flourish on the court so that they can deliver that ball.
Literally my job here is done. You've just said the wing attacks are the cleverest people on the court, which no one ever, I try and tell everyone, they don't believe me.
Yeah, honestly, they are.
I love it. Right, like, I can't let you go without talking the super shot, and I'm not going to ask you whether you love it or hate it or whatever. But I think what's interesting is last year there were more super shot attempts than ever, and the top 5 stats for super shots were you, Helen, and Sasha Glasgow were in the top 5. I mean that's not bad for the England lineup, but I'm more intrigued about the coaching part of it, because all we really ever hear is the negativity around it. And yet, you know, if there's more shots than ever, if you 3 were in the top 5, it must be being coached as a real tactic now. Is that something it's evolving, and has it helped in the international game? Notice that Sophie Dwyer is in that top 5 as well.
Yeah, I think there is massive tactics about it. I think when it first came about, everyone was a bit like, whoa, like let's just try and shoot from it and pray that it goes in. But now there's so many tactics, like your movement changes, like the position that you're feeding at, the way that you're starting in a circle changes, and how you're working together as a unit changes. Obviously, that's different if you've only got one person shooting super shots, but if you've got 2 shooting super shots, it's like a tongue twister. That changes even more, because obviously a lot of the defenders try and hone in on the one person who's got like the hot hand. But if you've got 2, then the whole world opens, and it's just, yeah, that's what's been really nice at Mavs so far, to be honest. That there's 3 of us who can shoot them, so the defenders just never know what to do. But yeah, the super shot, I'm loving the tactics. Honestly, there's so many different things that you can do. It's quite unbelievable, to be honest. Obviously not going to tell you all my tactics, because I'm not going to do that right here, right now, and give everyone a little helping hand in the season. But yeah, it is great. And to be honest with you, I would love for it to just be international, because I mean, the England shooters, we love it. We love the super shot.
We'd be all right. Like, don't tell anyone, but we'd do all right.
I think we really would.
Well, listen, this weekend we've got London Pulse versus Loughborough Lightning, and 2 big shoot-offs there with Liv Tchine down one end and Mary Cholhok down the other. Obviously, we saw Mary in the Nations Cup and just how instrumental she's been. Do you keep an eye on the other shooters around the world? Is it something you look at? Is it something coaches talk to you about?
I think I try and watch a bit of Super League and try and keep an eye on what's going on in the Super League. I don't necessarily look at the shooters. I'm more looking at the defenders, to be honest, and who's coming through and who I need to look out for, and try and create some evidence on what I need to do around them and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm keeping an eye on everyone, and well, that's a huge matchup this weekend with Pulse and Loughborough. I'm excited to watch that. Obviously watched the Thunder Pulse game the other week, so that was really good for Thunder. But yeah, just keeping an eye on all the time.
well, now you're an honorary Mavs as well, so you know.
Now, yeah.
Listen, I can't. I have to end on. You know, they do these personality things. If you're a shooter, if you're a goal attack, if you're wing attack, you're the cleverest, obviously. But the goal shooter one, this cracked me up because it did make me think of you. So goal shooters, the flip side of goalkeepers, goal shooters were the tall kids who did have skills. And on that, all I'm going to say is the claw. You've made the claw so famous, Al.
Thank you very much.
Is that a good description?
That is a pretty good description. I would say yeah, all about the skills and want to up my skills all the time. So yeah, I would say that's bang on.
Well, look, we can't wait to see how you go this season. We're obviously looking out for you and for Tracy this year. I clearly will be a Mavs fan because, I have to. But yeah, it's going to be a really exciting season, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again at some point. And when your roomie's running around, we'll get her back on as well.
Really sounds great. Thanks, Tamsin.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for sticking around for Off the Court. Remember to join us in round 4 next Friday night. We're in Worcester, top of the table clash, 7 Stars versus Manchester Thunder. Both sides have got out to a cracking start. We're picking the games for you this year. It will not disappoint. See you then.